We are going to go ahead and get started. It's 9:30. I want to start on time. We have a full packed agenda. My name is Scott Rogalski. I'm with the Associate Director of Strategic Initiatives for NorCal SBDC, Small Business Development Centers. We're really excited to have you all here today, so thank you for all being here. Can we see who we have in the audience? Can you all raise your hand if you're starting a business? Awesome. Congratulations. And then how many of you are existing business owners looking to expand? Awesome. Cool. It's about a good even mix. So thank you. Yeah, we're excited for you to be here, learn about all the state programs and resources that are available to you. And what I'd like to do is thank the California State Treasurer's Office for partnering with us during this event and kind of planning it, putting it together. And then also thanks to the California Secretary of State Office for making this event possible and providing us this amazing venue. So thank you to them. And then special thanks to Marble Bridge Accounts Receivable Financing. They are a sponsor here today. So you'll learn more about them a little bit later. So to start with our program, I have the privilege of introducing California Secretary of State Shirley and Weber, Ph.D. Dr. Shirley Nass Weber was nominated to serve as California Secretary of State by Governor Gavin Newsom on December 22, 2020, and sworn into office on January 29, 2021. She is California's first Black Secretary of State and only the fifth African American to serve as a state constitutional officer in California's 172-year history. She was re-elected to the office of Secretary of State in November of 2022. Before her appointment and re-election, Secretary Weber served 4 terms as an assembly member representing California's 79th Assembly District, which includes parts of the city of San Diego and several cities and communities in San Diego County. Weber also served as a member and chair of the San Diego Unified School District and has twice served as a California elector, including chairing the California College of Presidential Electors on December 14, 2020. Before her election to the Assembly, she retired from the Department of Africana Studies at San Diego State University after 40 years as a faculty member and serving several terms as department chair. Secretary Weber is a mother of 2 adult children, 3 grandchildren, and was married for 29 years to the late Honorable Daniel Weber. She is number 6 in a family of 8 children. Her parents, David and Mildred Nash, are deceased. Her hobbies include reading and traveling. I'd like to bring up California Secretary of State, Shirley Ann Weber.
Thank you, Scott, and good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you here this morning and see that you're smiling faces and know that you are truly interested in the topic. You know, I'm used to standing in front of a classroom where half the people are asleep and the others are afraid to go to sleep, okay, so they're starry-eyed. But it's good to see those of you who are enthusiastic and excited and engaged in this particular activity. I want to thank our State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, who is always involved in something, constantly moving and grooving everywhere you go, but she's an amazing treasurer and is doing some wonderful work here. And so when she asked us to partner with her on this event, we were more than happy to do so. That's what this facility is for here, the March Fong U building, Secretary of State's building. We are always pleased when folks want to come and use this building, make it alive, make it a part of the state efforts, because it just sits here without you being here. We would not have individuals in this room this morning. So it's good to have you here. Thanks so much for registering for this particular event. You know, we have, and there are a lot of our partners that we appreciate, many of them working with small businesses that will be here today to help you, as well as my own Office of Business Services is here that helps. Most of you probably interacted with them at some point when you had to file your papers and do whatever. Well, they'll be here today to answer all the questions that you need. You know, small businesses are important. You know, we often have things in the paper where we hear about the biggies, the Xerox, the Amazons, the whatever else that's kind of gobbles up the world. But But California is run by small businesses, and it's your business that really thrives and runs California. One of the things I was concerned about during the pandemic before I was Secretary of State was I watched and saw many of my constituents in my district struggling, the small businesses struggling, despite what efforts were being put forth at the national level to provide resources and support, financial support. By the time small businesses found out what was going on, these things had been gobbled up. They didn't have the kind of resources and the attorneys and the accountants and all those folks watching and advocating in Washington. And as a result, I saw my small businesses that I relied upon really struggling to stay alive, not only those that were for profit, but those for nonprofits. And I said at the time, we've got to do something. We did a couple of things in my district when I was an assembly member to deal with small businesses and nonprofits, to get them the information that was being sent out and the resources from the federal government. When I became Secretary of State, shortly thereafter, I told my staff, I said, we've got to do something for small businesses. We've got to do something for nonprofits, because I saw a lot of nonprofits, many of them churches and social service agencies attached to churches, who really did not survive during the pandemic. And they're often the link between what the government provides and what you need as a nonprofit or as a profit-making business. And so I was greatly concerned about that. And so we've done some things thus far. Our business division has done some things that have helped people to deal with the issues we had one workshop that lots of folks attended, and we'll have another one. I think several hundred came to that one because we were talking about, filing your business statement, your statement of information, and all those things that folks were just struggling with. And so we've been able to help a lot of the businesses. So we welcome this opportunity to be with you today. We welcome this opportunity to open up our business section. They'll be here today to talk about what we do and how we do it and demonstrate some things to you and provide you with resources. So I just wanted to welcome you here today, let you know that you're a part of what we do. Most folks think of Secretary of State as the election people, and we are. We're constantly involved in elections. But our biggest part of this building, the 600 people who work for me, the largest entity is our business. Our business entity is larger than our election entity in terms of the people we employ, the work that we do, and the lives that we touch. So once again, thank you so very much for being here. I know you're going to have a wonderful day. I'm going to be in and out because I've got other businesses upstairs and across the street at the Capitol. But I wanted you to know that the Secretary of State's office welcomes you to this building. We welcome your input. We hope we provide the resources, not just today, but ongoing, that you will know that our folks are here to help you and to answer questions and to walk you through the process, because your success is our success. So once again, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. Fiona Ma is California's 34th State Treasurer. She was first elected on November 6, 2018, with more votes, 7.825 million, than any other candidate for treasurer in the state histories, and re-elected on November 8, 2022. She is the first woman of color and the first woman certified public accountant, CPA, elected to the position. The State Treasurer's Office was created in the California Constitution in 1849. It provides financing for schools, roads, housing, recycling, and waste management, hospitals, public facilities, and other crucial infrastructure projects that better the lives of residents. California is the world's 5th largest economy, and Treasurer Ma is the state's primary banker. Presently, her office processes more than $3 trillion in banking transactions. She provides transparency and oversight for the government's investment portfolio and accounts, as well as for the state's surplus funds. Treasurer Ma oversees an investment portfolio that currently averages over $200 billion, a significant portion of which is beneficially owned by more than 2,200 local governments in California. She serves as agent of sale for all state bonds and is trustee of billions of dollars of state indebtedness. I'd like to welcome California State Treasurer Fiona Ma.
Thank you so much for all being here today, and I want to thank our Secretary of State, Shirley Weber, for partnering with us here today. During the pandemic, we did about 200 Zoom webinars, specifically because, as the Secretary of State said, we received $27 billion from the federal government during COVID, yet by the time the money was being released, many people said, I didn't even know about it. The money's all gone already, right? A lot of it was competitive. How many of you got any money during COVID? See? Exactly. So somebody got it from California. So we have spent a lot of time, just trying to prepare the community. And we always put all of the resources on our website, but we don't let people know sometimes. And so that is a flaw of our government system. And without us and the SBDCs and Small Business Majority and all of our partners out there really trying to push things out every day, it is hard for you all to navigate. I have a particular email that I set up during that time, and it is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. So if there's anything that you've heard today, you need more clarification, we didn't touch on a topic that is related to you or your industry, please send me an email. And I have one person, Catherine Asprey, that is her only job, is constituent outreach, making sure she answers all of your questions, connects you, she will follow up with you. She is amazing. I also have a newsletter that we do every month. It'll be at our table during the lunchtime. We have a number of booths set up, and so you can also talk to one of my experts that will be out there. Today, I have many directors and divisions that are going to be speaking here today, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but Cal Savers, Jonathan Herrera is here. He's going to talk about retirement savings accounts. If you don't have one at your office place, or you're a small business owner and you don't have one, no problem. We are going to help you, and these savings accounts will stay with the employees. So it's a big game changer for small businesses. Also, we have Go Green financing programs to help you save money on your electrical and utility costs. We have new small business loan programs because we know that during COVID, access to capital has been very difficult. So the federal government gave us $1 billion so that our lenders can lend out to those who are having a hard time accessing capital. So we'll be talking about that as well. And so just thank you all for coming out. Please keep in touch. We want to do what we can. There is still money that we receive from the federal government, and unless we hear from you that, hey, we did not get help. So we have issued a number of rounds to our restaurants, for example. Because the first round that came out, it was competitive all over the United States. A lot of us didn't get it. So now California is trying to roll out those programs to nonprofits that still need help, to restaurants and other small businesses. So please let us know how we can help you. So thank you very much for coming, and on with the show. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So there's a common theme that you keep hearing from California Secretary of State Shirley Weber, as well as California State Treasurer Fiona Ma, and that is, we're here to help. The resources are here, the money's here, we're here to help. But the only way you can do that is if you take action and reach out to us after this event or during this event, and we can assist you. All right, so now I would like to introduce Lynn Gray. She's the Director, Office of Small Business Advocate, also known as CalOSBA. Lynn Gray was sworn in on April 26, 2021 as the 5th Director of the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. She serves as the voice for California's 4.2 million small businesses in the Governor's Office of Small Business and Economic Development. Under Director Gray's leadership, the California Office of the Small Business Advocate focuses on helping to bring about Governor Newsom's California for All vision through further development of the state's small business ecosystem, and by ensuring that questions about equity and inclusion are the starting point for all the state's small business programs. Gray's first model of economic development was learned in her grandmother's beauty shop. Her grandmother instinctively understood that her patrons needed credit as well as beauty services, and she let them pay after services were rendered. This way, she kept the money circulating in the Black community and built a community of trust. She also imbued her granddaughter with her sense of compassion and indelible determination. Running her own business for 2 decades, working with 2 small business development centers, and running a business association and a foundation has given Director Gray the requisite experience and expertise to advocate for small businesses. Immediately prior to her appointment by Governor Newsom, Director Gray led the Fresno Metro Black Chamber of Commerce and Chamber Foundation as CEO. In her adopted city of Fresno, Director Gray engaged, educated, and empowered small businesses across California's Central Valley. At the same time, she became deeply engaged in community service, leading the initiative Betting Big on Small Businesses Owned by Women and People of Color, on behalf of the DRIVE investment plan, with the goal of increasing economic mobility for entrepreneurs in disinvested neighborhoods. Closing opportunity gaps, the role of women and BIPOC business leaders, and diversity and procurement opportunities are recurrent themes in her advocacy work. She has also led green economies initiatives, employment and training programs, and working to advance electric vehicle ownership. I'd like to welcome Lynn Gray, Director of Office of Small Business Advocate, to the stage. That was long.
Yeah, I should have given you the short bio. Wow. Well, good morning, everyone. Woo. As you just heard, I am Lynn Gray, Director of California's Office of the Small Business Advocate, which is part of the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. It is truly an honor to be here today, representing the state of California alongside Dr. Shirley Weber and California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. I cannot express enough how proud I am to be part of this cohort of women leaders that, if I just say it the way I say it over a dinner table, they are doing the darn thing. They really, really are. Dr. Weber's remake of the BizFile online system is just phenomenal. And Treasurer Ma's team is rocking it every day, helping the rest of us in the state really meet our missional mandates. And I gotta also give a shout out to the fact that we are the most diverse administration that the state of California has ever seen. Yes. And the icing on the cake for me is to be able to represent Governor Newsom's commitment to keeping our small business economy as vibrant as possible and accelerating the innovation pipeline that is today and frankly always what powers the California dream. I want to shout out and thank the Northern California SBDC team, Kristen, Scott, Brianna, Preet for organizing this event today. As recipients of funding from our technical assistance program in CalOSBA, I have to say that not only are they valued partners as part of that program, but frankly, they are the boots on the ground that deliver the services that the small businesses like you all who are here today are receiving. And that service is critical. I have a special affinity. You heard Scott say that I once was at 2 SBDCs, the Solano and Alameda County SBDCs. So my affinity for them is not only about the services that they provide now as director of this office, but because really they've been my colleagues for such a long time. And I really feel as though there is a closeness and connection and commitment to serving the state's small businesses. So I not only just recognize and honor the work that they do every day, not just at events like this, but for that one-on-one special sessions. And if you all here have not taken advantage of those one-on-one counseling sessions, I implore you, reach out to the SBDC, get yourself a counselor, because it doesn't matter whether you're looking to start, whether you want to manage your business, whether you want to grow your business. I guarantee you that there are resources for your enterprise at the SBDC. So I just really cannot underscore enough their significance. And we do have other partners from SBA here, and they are doing very similar work. But I don't think that I can really go on without talking about resiliency. And I just really want to take a moment to recognize and share our collective grief for the island of Maui and the state of Hawaii. Our hearts are with those Hawaiians who've lost family members, homes, pets, and livelihoods, right? We mourn as they mourn. We understand that their pain is really only understood by those who have survived a similar catastrophe. And unfortunately, here in California, where when I was growing up, disasters were the odd event. And now they're all around us every single day. And most of us are experiencing trauma related to disasters more often than we care to. And the pain of that loss really strikes the whole world, as many of us are lucky enough to have a cherished memory someplace in Hawaii. Maybe for you, it was the first time you set foot in Hawaii. Maybe a family photo under the banyan tree in Lahaina. So we are all sharing the shock and the grief of the headlines. And I just want to shout out to the lovely storefronts of Lahaina. The local chamber site says that it counts more than 3,000 businesses, from shaved ice to art galleries to scuba diving operators. But then there's also our hairdressers, accountants, lawyers, many more, all a part of what made Lahaina such a culturally rich community. And I point that out because those businesses and the businesses in any community are really where the magic is. It's where the memories on every main street are made, right? It is how the community gets its real flavor and its culture. And we know that there are many that are turning their resources and operational skills to disaster relief in this moment for their businesses. And it just really reminds us that small business owners are not just contributors to the local economy, but they are actually community institutions. They are community leaders. And when they hurt, we hurt. And so I just want to point that out. We know that here in California because they are experiencing what we experienced in Paradise, for example. So I just feel compelled to express that support from the LSBA team. We support the SBA, SBDC, and all the other disaster response teams who are being called upon to support these business owners. Why say that to those of you that are starting a business? Because resiliency and planning for resiliency and expecting disaster and planning for disaster are as critical to the survival of your business long term as planning for your first customer. Because the facts are that if you experience a disaster and you are not prepared, if you don't think about your data, if you don't think about how you'll contact your customers, you are most likely out of business. And nobody goes into business to be out of business. So I lay it on your minds, today that as you plan, as you seek your one-on-one sessions, that you put a plan together. You'll hear later in the program from Assistant Deputy Director Clair Whitmer in my office about a particular program called Outsmart Disaster. And I just say, perk up, listen up. It's as significant to you as anything you will ever do. Resiliency, I often say, is the word of the century. Take it to heart. California is home to 4.2 million small businesses. We have the highest in the nation. The next state on the list is Texas with 3.1 million. Those small businesses and 99% of those small businesses are sole props with fewer than 20 employees. Yet, they still provide half of all private sector jobs and 2/3 of all net new jobs. But what we don't often talk about is another statistic about those businesses, and that is that 46% of these businesses are owned by Hispanics or another racial minority. So our state's small businesses really are the reflection of us and our economic and social reality. And business formation in California continues at an accelerated rate. We were topping it before the COVID-19 crisis, and we're still killing it after the COVID-19 crisis. California entrepreneurs didn't shy away, we leaned in. So just like many of you here today, the desire to capture that California dream is still alive and real, and our administration is responding to that. We delivered more than 327,000 grants from the COVID Relief Grant Program and more than $5.3 billion in small business programming. So, I will close with this. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to share in this event today. You all are very important to the Office of the Small Business Advocate. As our name implies, we work for you. Reach out to us at OSBA at gobiz.ca.gov. Visit our website, calosba.ca.gov. If you want to reach out to us, hit the contact up in the menu, go to our contact form, and send us an email with your concerns or a connection that you need to make. Again, thank you, and what we like to say in OSBA is supporting small strengthens us all. Thank you. Thank you.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much, Lynn Gray. Thank you. Powerful. All right, so we're a little behind on the schedule, but I'm going to go into talk about SBDC, and then we'll get into our program of all the resources that will be coming up. So SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, we have both of our funders here today. So we have Heather Lutzy, she's District Director for the Sacramento District SBA Office, Small Business Administration. So that's where we get most of our funding from on the federal side. And then we also get the other funding from the California CalOSBA from Tara Lynn and her office and her team. So that's where we get our funding. And with the funding, we come to, as Tara Lynn mentioned, we come to you at no cost. We come to you and can work with you to help you start your business, grow your business, buy a business, sell a business, transition. We're here to help you at no cost. And so SBDC, Small Business Development Centers, we're a national program, been around about 40 years. So if you don't know about us, don't be too hard on yourself. That's why we get out to these events and do these networking collaborations. But in the state of California, we have 5 state networks. In Northern California, which is where me and Preet and Bree and our team works at, and also Anna's here. And with that network, we cover the most 36 northern counties of the state. So we go from the coast of Santa Cruz all the way up to the Oregon border. We cover all 9 counties of the Bay Area. We go southeast to Stockton, then back up to the Nevada-Oregon border. So that's our territory. So that's where we can service clients. But if you're not in that territory and you happen to drive further than Northern California here today, then we have other offices that can assist you in other state regions. We have about 65 offices in the state of California and about 1,000 in the U.S. So pretty large network. These are the centers that we have in Northern California. So we have them. They cover all 36 counties. We don't have an office in all 36 counties, but we do have satellites and hubs throughout the most rural counties like Modoc and Lassen, like Tehama, Trinity, Shasta, Alpine, Amador, Calavera. Some of our more rural areas, we have access to, you can get access to resources all across the territory. We just may not have a center there. So if you haven't signed up for SBDC services, as Tara Lynn mentioned, please see someone from my team. You can raise your hand. We have Preet, Bree, Anna in the audience. You can talk to us, and then we can find the right location for you. So what do we do? Thanks to Tara Lynn, she mentioned a lot of what we do. So we offer the one-on-one advising at no cost. So we essentially hold your hand, work with you, walk you through whatever it would take to start or grow or sustain, hire people, maybe get a lease negotiation in Sacramento or somewhere in Northern California, or possibly get capital. We can do market research, and we're not going to do the work for you, but we'll sit down with you and help you and coach you and walk through that with you. So who do we work with? So we work with everyone in the room. All of our partners at the California State Treasurer's Office and Secretary's of State offices, obviously SBA, CalOSBA. We also work with elected officials, lots of Chamber of Commerce partnerships. And then my favorite, we work with a lot of lenders, banks, credit unions, CDFIs, which stands for California Department of Finance Institutions, and like micro lenders, nonprofit lenders. So how many are you looking for capital? Yeah, it's exciting. It's my favorite. So Tara Lynn mentioned this about Maui. So yeah, in California, throughout the country, we are the boots on the ground with SBA. SBA takes the lead usually for any disaster on the small business side or consumer side. So we can, SBA will set up assistance hubs in the areas that are most affected, whether it be fire, or we all went through COVID, or floods, or any disaster that's nationally recognized. SBA is there, and then we're also there, SBDC. So this is some of the work we can do. In the fires, a lot of times the records are burned, and they don't have access to them if they don't have them backed up, which is very common for small business owners. So we can essentially help them recraft those financials to get applications into SBA to apply for assistance. So we are there, we're ready to help. I'm sure they're doing that in Maui as we speak. So the business expertise offered, it's across the board. I couldn't fit it all in one slide. There's probably hundreds of ways that we can help you as a startup or an existing business. But we have industry experts, which you can see on here. One of the most common industries we're working with right now is e-commerce. So if you want to sell your product or your service online, we have a no-cost 6-week course where we teach you how to do that called California Shop Small. It's a really cool program. If you want more information, again, you could reach out to someone from my team here. Restaurants are our #1 industry that we help. So we help a lot of restaurants, and a lot of restaurants and food businesses struggle to get financing, but we have access to the right lenders to help you get that. And also, we have you saw on our map, we have a lot of rural areas, underserved areas that we also connect with. So finance, so if you're looking for capital, which most of you raise your hand. So Andrew Crone, he's in the back, he raised his hand. He's a sponsor of this event. He's with Marble Bridge Accounts Receivable Financing. I guess you deserve a round of applause, but So if any of you are looking to get like state or federal contracting to supply services to the state or federal government, and you need help paying those bills as the contract money comes in, then that's what Marble Bridge does. So he has a booth in the resource table area that we'll go to a little bit later. But if you're having trouble putting together your business plan, your financials, like you don't know how you're gonna sell 1,000 cups of coffee a month to make your bills paid, to have a location, if that's something you're struggling with, we can help you with that. Again, we're not gonna do the work for you, but we will teach you and walk you through how to do a business plan, how to do projections, knowing how much money you're gonna make, how many people you're gonna have to hire, what your bills are, how to pay for that, and then how to talk to a lender and work with a lender and find the right funding and resources that's available to you. Anybody in the tech industry? Tech? No tech, low tech. We have tech experts called Tech Futures Group, and they essentially can introduce you to SBIR and STTR, which are innovation grants through the government, and we could help you apply for that and get access to that for funding if you're looking to give up part ownership of your company instead of taking money out. There's either debt or equity. We have experts. This is just a quick analysis of what types of like advising expertise that we have, and then the examples of how it kind of relates to tech. If you want a copy of this deck, we can get you a copy of this deck. I know I'm going fast. I put too many slides together, I apologize. Restaurants and food and beverage is very extensive. There's probably 100 different particulars within restaurants and food industries. That's why we have this. The Inclusivity Project is focused around nothing but Black and African American entrepreneurs. We have a capital summit where we'll introduce you to lenders on August 31st in Sacramento. And if you want more information about that, also reach out to us. But we are working with Black and African American businesses, entrepreneurs, startups, and existing, and helping them with getting financing, finding the right lenders for them, and then how best to connect them with the right resources. So come join us on the 31st. This is California Shop Small. This is the program. We have another one launching, I think we're in August. I think it's in September. We have another cohort launching for this. Again, it's no cost, 6 weeks. Take your product from your desktop to the World Wide Web, sell it there, and we can assist you with that, help you take pictures of your products and get it online. And yeah, so there's no questions right now. We are just gonna go through the program. There is, I know that was quick, there are times, let's see here. Preet, does other people have slides after me? Okay. There you go, cool. All right, so I'm gonna bring to the podium California Secretary of State Business Programs Division, Alex Ting, Assistant Chief.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alex Ting, Assistant Chief for the Business Programs Division within the Secretary of State, where we process nearly 2 million business filings every year for corporations, limited liability companies, limited partnerships, and other business entities. One quick note, if you are a sole proprietorship, you don't actually register with our office, but you may find this information interesting to you if you ever feel like you're going to expand into something perhaps like an LLC or a corporation. First, I'd like to extend our thanks to the Northern California SBDC and the State Treasurer's Office for allowing us to show how we can help the small business community of California. And we recognize that you all here are very much the lifeblood of our diverse California economy. So we thank you for attending this. So while you are going to hear about many wonderful programs and services following me, I get the unenviable task of letting you all know the things that you have to do with our office and things that you're required to do. But the good side of this is that with the deployment of our California Business Connect project, early last year, and our subsequent BizFile online filing portal, we've substantially reduced the friction and complexity for completing your business filings with us.
Yes.
All right, so some of the things that we'll be going through here in just a bit will be, so you'll find that we provide the ability to answer some questions that you may have in the very early stages of starting your business. We have access to our BizFile portal that provides more detailed and comprehensive information, including statutes and regulations that guide the creation and the running of your business. We have our online business search, online filings, and online certificate orders all within our BizFile online filing portal. You can even search for trademarks and file for trademarks to support your new or existing small business. All right, so through our BizFile portal, we provide many items that you might all find helpful before you've even started or created your business, such as a complete guide to starting a small business along with a checklist, as well as comprehensive access to all the statutes and regulations that you'll need to know. We also include information and links to our partner agencies, and this may include examples like licensing requirements through Department of Consumer Affairs, tax requirements from the Franchise Tax Board, or even connections to Attorney General's office requirements if you're starting a nonprofit. You'll also be able to find news and notices which may affect your business, such as law changes, or updates on our own operations, including our processing times for filings. So, one of my personal favorites here, one of our most important and useful functions is our Eureka chatbot, and that's represented by that dapper bear that you see here. You can click on that to access the chatbot. And Eureka is a Microsoft-based artificial intelligence chatbot, and we've configured it to answer hundreds of frequently asked questions. Our phone staff, they're available, they're knowledgeable. However, we always recommend you start with Eureka first if possible, because it can give you instant answers, and currently in both Spanish and English. And importantly, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It'll even provide you direct links with filing on the correct form. So you can see this example here. We have some questions here about how to file a statement of information, and it'll give you some steps here, and it'll provide you the link to that filing in our BizFile online filing portal. Let's see, so speaking of which, that leads us to the BizFile online filing portal. All right, so with over 120 different forms available on our online portal, nearly our entire library of business filings are within easy reach with your keyboard and mouse. And while there might be more than just a few attorneys or accountants present today that enjoy reading our California Corporations Code book, I'm going to guess that most of you prefer not to do that. So, so most of you would likely prefer working in an online system that provides you with guidance for your business filings, so you don't have to pour through that said code book. And unlike filing on our paper forms, all of our online filings have built-in system validations to help prevent you from filing or submitting some information that's not correct, or even something that would get rejected by our review staff. Each online filing also contains useful, very helpful filing tips for important sections, and they also contain direct references to statutes and regulations as well. So, and as an added benefit, filings that we receive online are processed much quicker, and some filings, including our statement of information filing, are even instantly processed by our system, so you don't have to wait. So given how important online security is today, we also offer something that we call secure access control to your online filings for your small business entity. So we really recognize nowadays that business identity theft and malicious filings are an actual thing. So our system here, our user access control system, allows you or anyone you designate to be the only ones to submit filings for your entity. Again, this helps provide a lot of security for your entity. Let's see, so you even have additionally the option to opt into email reminders. So an example of that is you may be able to get regular notifications for when your next statement of information is due, or when we have changes to our business processes, or possibly even large-scale legislative changes that might affect your business. We also provide the ability to order certified copies of filings or certificates of status for your entity, which you may need to secure funding for some of these programs that you'll hear after me. And when you order through our BizFile online portal, these are typically processed and made available to you within minutes. Right. So this is our business search. So we have a comprehensive business search portal where you can do everything from checking to see if your business entity name is available. So if you're starting a new business, you have a really cool idea for name, you can go here to see whether or not that name is taken. So Two Lazy Cats, I'm sorry, that is taken. So for all of you thinking about that. But you can also check to see all of your business entities' history, as well as any other business entities. You can view a complete details and filing history. We have access to free PDF copies of over 17 million imaged business documents through our business search. And if you've already created an account for your entity, so this is part of the secure access that we were talking about, you can also access the available filings online for your specific entity. And this may include like reserving a name as you're about to start a business, or filing, again, your required statement of information. And so just a quick plug for our statement of information. We have a lot of filings that are optional or things that you'll do throughout the course of your business. The statement of information is one of our required filings. So if you're a corporation, we require this filing every year. To clarify, we require the first filing within the first 90 days of your registration with us, and then every year thereafter. If you're a nonprofit or a limited liability company, you'll file every 2 years thereafter. But this is a required filing, and we ask that you really keep an eye on this because we know the time period is very far in between. But if you don't file this required filing with us, you have the possibility to have your entity suspended and lose the rights and privileges to do business in California. So please keep track of that and opt into the email reminder so you know when it's due. All right. So lastly, we have many other resources available on our BizFile portal page, including announcements for upcoming virtual events where we describe important filings and demonstrate how to file them in our BizFile online system. We have links to recordings of past virtual events, as well as a growing library of how-to videos. So for those of you that don't have a lot of familiarity with filing, you can visit that portal. We have videos there. You can see exactly how to do things. You can see we have this little animation, which is kind of cool. But you'll get to see exactly step-by-step how to do a number of these filings. And this library is growing for us, so we are expanding it over time. So please visit quite a bit. And again, the virtual events, we are scheduling a lot of these. We actually have an upcoming one for nonprofits. So for those of you that may be starting a nonprofit, we'll have one in probably several weeks. You'll get to visit our bizfile.sos.ca.gov page in order to see when that is coming up and be able to register for that. All right, so as you can see, while many of our filings are required by law, our mission at the Secretary of State has not only been to remove obstacles to starting and maintaining your small business, but really to provide modern and efficient resources to make doing business in California as easy as possible. So thank you all. I guess we're going to have a Q&A. We're ready to answer any questions, if you all have any.
I think we're doing it at the end.
We're doing it? Oh, I thought we were split. Okay. I guess we'll answer them at the end.
Wait, you got one.
Yes.
The portals that you shared, how many are available in multiple languages?
So at the moment, the portals themselves are only available in English. We are working on some Spanish translation. Again, our Eureka chatbot does have Spanish translation built in. We're actually looking at a number of other languages as well. I mean, recognizing that California has quite a bit of diversity to it, we're going to be integrating some other languages there. Yeah. Question?
What security measures are you guys
So statements of information currently is open for people to file because we needed to get as many people to be able to file as possible. However, we're very close to implementing the user access control like I described earlier for statements of information, so it will be secure just as with the other filings. Okay, yes, question?
I would like to create a mortgage brokerage. Which person or department would you recommend that I speak with first?
Ooh, that's a good question. What I'm going to do is refer you to some of our experts. So after this session, we'll have our table in there, and please visit with them. Yes. Yes. Question.
When you actually are getting the one-on-one consult, do they do like a pre-assessment so they can match you with a person who has familiarity with your business that you're going to be trying to do?
So we don't actually offer specifically one-on-one consults, and we always recommend, as unfortunate as it may be, that you consult with an attorney or an accountant first to really understand the structure of what you want to create. But from there on out, you can visit the resources that we have and see what might suit you.
Is there financial assistance available for hiring an attorney?
Not through Secretary of State, no, but perhaps through some of the other services that are offered. Yes.
You said that the businesses have to file something every 2 years?
Yes.
Something to keep their entity going or something like that. Do they get a reminder?
Yes, so that is the statement of information. The statement of information really just describes a little bit about your business, including your addresses, your principals, your agent for service process. Every 2 years is for nonprofits and LLCs. If you're a corporation, most corporations will be every year. And yes, so we do send out a postcard reminder, but it is this little postcard that goes in the mail and has a tendency to disappear. We recommend that you go online and you can opt, if you file the statement of information online, you can opt into email reminder notices for when it's due. Additionally, if you go in and search your entity in the BizFile search page, and you bring up your entity, you can see when your next due date is for your statement of information filing. Yes?
Quick question. If you need to update or make a change to the initial statement of information, does then the due by date reset from that change or from the initial filing?
This is a great question. So it does not change. The due date will always be the due date. However, you can file outside of your typical filing period, which usually runs 5 months prior to your due date. But you can file a statement of information at any time. So for instance, if you appointed a new director for your nonprofit, you can file a statement of information 8 months before it's due. And when you do that, there's no fee for it as well. But it will be due again when the due date comes around. Yes?
So let me clarify that then. So if you change your scope of business within the year before your filing is due again, you need to file that right away, or can you wait until you're yearly to make that change as a scope of business?
So we don't require you to do it until the filing period, but we would recommend that you should. Yes. Yes.
Many small businesses, when they're first starting, are starting out of their homes, and obviously you put your information up on there with the address and all that. Is that public, or is there a way of protecting that so that doesn't necessarily, that part doesn't necessarily?
So unfortunately, all the information that gets filed with us is public and it's publicly viewable, and this is by law for us. So we might recommend that you use an alternate address or a mailing service if possible. All right. Yes.
Like you mentioned earlier about changing directories, what are some other things that would flag us to create another statement?
So for instance, if you were to change your address, whether it's your mailing address or your physical address, you'll want to file a new statement of information. The statement of information also contains an agent for service of process. So that's somebody that you designate to be able to receive service for your entity. So if that changes, you'll want to file a new one. If you're an LLC, you want to change your management structure or your membership structure, you would also file a new statement of information. Yes?
Can we list a revocable trust as the CEO of our company?
That is a very specific question. I won't be able to answer for you. However, if you check with our table after this session, I think they may be able to help you out with that. Yes?
Are there costs associated with these filings?
So some filings, yes, some filings have costs. So for instance, if you are registering a corporation or an LLC with us, it'd be either $100 or $70 for the filing fee. Statements information could be $20 or $25, unless of course you file outside of the period as an amendment, then it would be no fee. So the different filings have different fees associated with them, and some are.
renewal?
For renewal, so we don't have a renewal filing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's
Great. Thank you.
No, we didn't. You're right. That was wrong. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Alex Ting. I was actually wrong. So after every speaker, there is some Q&A. So I apologize for that. But the question that you brought up regarding what entity is best to choose, we don't have access to attorneys and CPAs because we're not allowed to give legal advice. But you can work with one of our advisors, and we can give you the advice that the expert has on choosing the right entity and kind of like the pros and cons of each. So we can do that. Yeah.
We also have a brochure, Starting a Business, that talks about the different types of entities, just to get you familiar with the language, and that's on our website, Secretary of State's website.
It's not about the entity choice, it was more about discussing your specifics of your business with someone who might be knowledgeable about that business type.
Yeah, so we can help you with that too, as well as the brochure that she's talking about. But there's lots of great resources after all the speakers and the networking and lunch hall that we'll get to. So now I'd like to bring up Alison French-Tubo. She's the outreach manager for CPCFA, which stands for California Pollution Control Financing Authority. So I'll bring up Alison.
Good morning. First off, I think I'll address what you're probably wondering. What the heck does pollution control have to do with small business? And are you guys in charge of recycling or making sure I don't, dump hazardous waste? The answer is we do have something to do with small business for over 30 years. And no, we're not in charge of recycling or anything like that. The key thing to pay attention to here, well, let me see if I... Financing authority. So that's the type of entity that we are in state law underneath the State Treasurer's Office. So you heard our Treasurer Fiona Ma speak earlier today. And for 30 years, CPCFA has ran programs that increase access to capital for small business. Our general name for those is CalCAP. So Cal, like California, and CAP, like capital. In fact, Capital Access Program. We have multiple variations, flavors of those that you're going to see, but they are basically a set of tools, risk management tools, that provide lenders with more assurance that when they make a loan to a small business, that they are protected in the case of the small business struggling, because although small businesses are like the lifeblood of California and the U.S., each small business itself is a little bit more vulnerable than, say, a huge business, because if they have one thing that happens, like their supervisor gets in a car accident on the freeway, they may not be able to keep on with what they're working on for a while. So small businesses are more vulnerable that way. And those CalCAP programs were started in 1994. So basically we have an assortment of programs at CPCFA reflecting different policy goals from federal and state, and that industrial, air, and water pollution is how we got our name, working on financing those. So the California Capital Access Programs, CalCAP, like I said, we provide risk management tools to financial institutions, and there's two types of them, loan loss reserve and collateral support. You do not need to become an expert, on which one would be best for your business. That part is part of preparing for capital with small business services advisors like the ones that CalOSBA can refer you to and that SBDCs themselves are. Our programs do have additional support made for loans in severely affected communities, which, as we heard earlier today, talking about how disasters are coming to California more than ever before. So underneath that CalCap umbrella, we have 4 different programs currently. 2 of them are part of SSBCI. So that's our big push today is SSBCI. You might have heard of it as the State Small Business Credit Initiative, and that is the $1.1 billion that you heard referenced earlier today. That $1.1 billion is a grant from the U.S. government to California to implement what are called capital programs. Again, not going to quiz you on any of this, but just to let you know, the capital programs are those risk management tools that make it possible for lenders to make more loans to small businesses, and also which helps small businesses get that first loan with that lender, and then also hopefully they can establish a relationship with a lender as their business grows over time. So we have under SSBCI the CalCap collateral support style. We have under SSBCI the CalCap for small business. And then we also have CalCap for ADA accessibility and CalCap for seismic safety. So the ones that you should be most interested in today probably are the first 2, collateral support and CalCap for small business. These are both for small businesses. And I'm going to have at the treasurer's table in the hall, there will be this handout, and it has QR codes, but also the web pages listed to get the brochure about each of these programs. And also to get the brochure, there is a 3rd program in California, another type of risk management tool that is administered by our partner iBank. And so information about all of those is on this handout. But notice one goes up to 750 employees and one goes up to 500 employees. Show of hands here for who has 10 or fewer employees. Okay, yay, because you are like in the, I believe it's like 70% of California small businesses are considered very small business. Yes, 10 or fewer. So, and we definitely, a lot of the loans that are enrolled in our programs are to very small businesses. And then these are the ones that are very specific loan purposes. The CalCap ADA accessibility is for small businesses that need to make physical changes to their space in order to comply with ADA. And then CalCap seismic safety is for, again, making physical changes that make the building more seismically safe. These are what our brochures look like. Again, you do not need to memorize what's on there. It does talk about the process of how a person uses these programs, which is basically, we recommend you start with small business assistance services or technical assistance, and those are the folks that can help you, like what Scott was saying, that we can help you understand what you need to do. What pieces of paper do you need to have to be able to present to a lender? Do you have, how did you make your budget, or how do you make your budget for what the amount of capital that you need? They help you get all those pieces squared away so that when you apply to the lender, it can be a quick process. So that's the CalCap collateral support brochure. And this is the CalCap for small business brochure. Again, links to both of those on the handout. And just want to thank everybody for your time today. I know that as business owners, you are super busy. And oh, let's see, this might actually be so fancy. It should have a, okay, there we go. There's my email address, just CPCFA outreach at treasurer.ca.gov. If you have questions, send them over and I'll get you pointed in the right direction. That's a lot of what my job is just helping people know where to go look next. And I think we have a Q&A period. Hi.
Hi, I just want to clarify, you don't actually provide funding directly to small businesses. You facilitate the transaction between small businesses and the funding provider.
That is correct. Under U.S. Treasury guidelines, all of the SSBCI programs are programs that make it possible for lenders to loan more, but they're lending their private capital.
Okay, and one other question.
Okay.
Okay, the accessibility funding, I understand that it's geared towards making improvement to, I'm going to say, building and maybe working spaces. However, what if you are interested in hiring people with accessibility challenges and you would like to retrofit or outfit? You haven't been charged with anything, but you would like to make the space more workable for people with those same
We would have to look at the specifics, but as the legislature designed it, it's for retrofitting a space. It doesn't require that you've, it was meant to prevent lawsuits, but it doesn't require that you've been the recipient of a lawsuit. It does have a requirement that you use what's referred to as a CASP, C-A-A-S-P, and that is a professional who's trained to evaluate what upgrades or what retrofits are needed, because the last thing you'd want to do is think, hey, I've made these retrofits to make my space accessible, and then find out that, like, oh, actually we missed it by 2 inches and this person's wheelchair can't turn the corner.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I see one in the middle, and then we'll go to you.
So the ADA funding that she was just referring to, does it only apply to physical spaces, or what if you're an online business and you need to make your online business more ADA friendly? Will it help cover those?
The way that it was designed by the legislature is physical spaces. I'll get to you in the back, and just we have one up here in the front.
So I don't know why I feel nervous asking, because I feel very ignorant right now. Thank you. When it says 1 to 10 employees, or am I an employee if I'm in
Yes.
business?
Yes.
Okay. And what would I mean, I'm struggling. Obviously, a lot of us are probably struggling. What are the reasons we would be able to apply for funding? What are some examples of real life reasons other than just, yeah.
So for all of these programs, so to be clear, as that question was asked, we're not directly providing funding. We're not providing a grant or a loan directly to you.
But you would be able to tell me whether or not it's even reasonable to apply, correct?
Well, pretty much for under the programs that are under SSBCI, it's pretty much any business purpose. But you would want to work with a small business advisor to make sure that you had the documentation as to that would make a lender see why you need that money and how you're going to pay it back. So we are a backstop to that, but this isn't like a down payment assistance program type of thing where we're able to like give you a certain amount of money to make you more credit worthy. That's not how they work. But pretty much those programs are allowed to enroll anything except stuff that's not allowed by the feds, like cannabis. So we can't enroll programs that are like cannabis businesses, and we are limited on businesses that sell alcohol to, there has to be less than half of their income is from alcohol sales. A few limitations like that, but very broad otherwise.
And the second piece of that is I hire subcontractors,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the law changed in California, but they don't count as employees, correct?
They do not.
I don't think so.
They don't. Yeah. You're talking about AB5.
I think so.
Legislation is AB5. We can help you with that. SBDCs can help you, give you guidance towards that. For 1099 employees, we can also tell you if you should apply for a loan or not.
Okay.
Yeah, that they are really the folks to help you decide, like, do I need to go borrow money or do I need to have a different plan on how to move forward?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody in the back had a question? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, we'll have these at the table for anyone. It's the QR codes just so that you always get the most up-to-date version of our brochure. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. So now I'd like to bring up Jonathan Herrera. He's the Director of Strategic Stakeholder Engagement and Customer Experience for CalSaver's Retirement Savings Board. All right. It's your turn.
My turn.
Your turn.
Yay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Like Scott said, my name is Jonathan. I lead stakeholder engagement and customer experience for the CalSaver's Retirement Savings Program. And let me start by saying thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's really great to have the opportunity to talk to you about what we're doing at CalSavers. I did see the number of hands that went up from businesses who are seeking financing. Unfortunately, we're not that. CalSavers is the state's new retirement savings program designed for the millions of Californians who lack access to a way to save for retirement at work. And I think that this is a really important conversation for us to be having with small business owners for a couple of reasons. Number one, and we're going to go over this in a little bit more detail, there is a mandate with the state, so we'll talk about that. But I also think that it's just sort of a really important opportunity to talk about, personal finances just in today's, economy and sort of what's going on in the world, right? Some of our introductions included conversations about resiliency, right? I think as so many businesses and workers are sort of emerging from these different catastrophes that we've had, the pandemic, business owners and their employees are looking for ways to, and business owners in particular are looking for ways to support their employees' financial well-being, both in the short term and the long term. And that's exactly what CalSavers is designed to do, providing a free tool for employers to be able to support their employees' financial future so that your employees can see you as a long-term career, a place where they can build a life and work with you for the long term. So my goal is to talk to you a little bit about, why CalSavers came to be, and then talk about employers' responsibilities, how we've designed it for savers, and then of course, I'll be able to answer questions and talk about, anything that might be interest to you to be answered. So starting with a little bit of background, back in 2016 when the legislature was sort of trying to figure out what this bill was going to look like, they were looking at the financial landscape in California and saw that nearly half of Californians are projected to retire into economic hardship if they can retire at all, right? Really sobering statistic for a state like California, but then again, not surprising. And we believe that a key driver of that fact was that it was estimated there were 7.5 million Californians who were going to work every day, playing by the rules, but lack access to a workplace-based retirement program. And that access is really, really important because the research also shows that workers are 15 times more likely to be saving and be on a path towards retirement security if they have access to a payroll deduction savings plan at work, right? Not rocket science, we're not creating anything new, it's just providing workers with an easy way to save automatically from the paycheck, set it and forget it, out of sight, out of mind, making small deposits over time to build their nest egg, right? That number actually goes up to 20 times more likely if the program features automatic enrollment, which is something we're proud to say CalSavers does. We'll talk about that a little bit in just a second. But knowing that the best way to get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security is through the workplace, back in 2016, the legislature did pass this bill that really did two sort of important things. And one really important thing for you to take away as business owners is that it did create this mandate on California employers. But two, it also provided the opportunity for us to start building this program as, again, a free way for employers to meet the requirements of this mandate, but most importantly, support their employees' financial future. So mandate says, any business in the state of California, and it's been expanded recently, with one or more employee, if that business is not offering an employer-sponsored retirement plan like a 401k or a simple IRA, we've got a whole list of the different qualified plans on our website if you want to check it out. But any business that isn't offering their employees a retirement program needs to sign up for CalSavers and sort of facilitate their employees' access to this program. As far as your employees go, what do we consider an employee? We wanted to make the program as inclusive as possible because, again, our goal is to reduce this access gap and make sure that more workers have access to these tools. Any of your employees that receive W-2 wages who are 18 years or older and have a Social Security number or an ITIN are eligible for the program. So that means we're looking at all of your part-time employees, full-time employees, seasonal employees when they're on staff with you. Owners and officers who are also reported to EDD as employees are considered employees and part of that count. And then again, because ITIN holders and anyone with a social is welcome to participate in the program. If you have employees that are here on a visa, they're welcome to join the program also. So we do also like to say out front that, obviously our goal was not to compete with or replace employer-sponsored retirement plans. There's a lot of good programs out there that support small businesses and help their employees save for retirement. Our goal was just to make sure that employers had another tool that was free for them to use if they wanted to look, at a program that costs less and is hopefully a little easier to use. Let's see. So to just sort of go over the registration requirements, we launched the program back in July of 2019, and when we did that, it kicked off a 3-year phased rollout of compliance deadlines based on the size of the business. Now, that sort of 3-year rollout is already done, so if any of you guys have been in business for a while and have 5 or more employees, it's possible that we might have been sending you some nasty little letters, but definitely connect with us. We want to get you up and running and make sure that you guys get in compliance before there are any sort of penalties. But going forward, for businesses with 5 or more employees, every year we get fresh data from EDD, and we calculate the average number of employees that each business reported during the previous calendar year. So any business that we see that has 5 or more employees will identify you as eligible for the program, which again is a nice way of saying subject to this mandate, and we'll start sending you notifications throughout the year and letting you know that you'll have until December 31st of that calendar year to register with the program and then start facilitating your employees' access to it. So again, if you have an average of 5 or more employees, then you're most likely going to be required to join by the end of that calendar year. But I mentioned that this requirement also includes businesses with 1 to 4 employees now. So that's relatively new. The legislature passed a bill to sort of expand access to the program, recognizing that there was a good, 250,000 plus businesses that, didn't qualify for this program, and so unfortunately we weren't able to let them in. So we expanded the mandate to allow for more employers to be able to participate, but more importantly, their employees to be able to participate. But those businesses with between 1 and 4 employees, you're welcome to join the program now. The program is open for you. We're ready to support you and your employees on their path towards retirement security. But it's important to note that if your business doesn't have a retirement plan and you averaged 1 to 4 employees for the previous calendar year, then you'll have until December 2025 to join the program. So you've got a little bit more of a runway. But again, we're looking to engage with employers in that bucket now so we can answer your questions, help you understand what the requirements are, and get you up and running, but most importantly, help your employees save for the future. So really quickly, when we were sort of designing the program, one of the first things we did was reach out to small business owners like you all and said, what is it about retirement programs on the existing market that make it difficult for employers to offer these types of programs to their employees? And over again, we'd hear these same hurdles. It's the administrative burden, it's the fees, and it's the fiduciary responsibility or the legal requirements that employers take on when they sponsor their own retirement program. So we wanted to create CalSavers to address all 3 of those things. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for you to facilitate. I've got the easy steps right there. We'll talk about them in just a second. Again, there are no fees for employers and no required employer match, so no out-of-pocket costs for the employer. And then, of course, employers are not taking on that fiduciary responsibility or that legal responsibility for monitoring the program. That responsibility falls on the 9-member public board chaired by the state treasurer that I work for and all of our relevant contractors like our investment managers and the company that we contracted with to run the program. But for you as an employer, 4 easy steps to sort of facilitate the program and stay in compliance. Number 1, you register by that state required deadline. And then number 2, within 30 days of registering, you sort of take some time to set up your account. Tell us a little bit about how you run your payroll and stuff like that so we can help you get that part set up. And then you'll give us a roster of all of your eligible employees. So again, that's all of your W-2 employees, part-time, full-time, seasonal, owners and officers who are also, collecting wages will be included in this roster. That'll kick off what we call a 30-day employee decision period where we're communicating with your employees. Employers play an important role here also communicating with their employees, letting them know, hey, look out for information from CalSavers. But we do let them know that if they don't opt out within the first 30 days of you providing us their information, they'll get automatically enrolled into the program at the default settings. And then those last 2 are really the only ongoing responsibilities for the employer, right? So you're going to continue to maintain that roster. You'll add new employees when you hire them. You can remove employees and mark them inactive when they leave. And then you'll continue to submit those contributions for your participating employees with each pay period, right? So every time you run payroll, you'll let your payroll system run the deductions and you'll send those contributions to the program to be deposited into your employee's retirement account. So that sort of brings us to the saver features. Our goal was to create a program for your employees that's easy for them to participate in. It's completely portable and accessible for your employees, and there's low fees. So it's really just an automatic payroll deduction IRA. We already talked about that. So that just means that your employees' contributions will be automatically deducted from their paychecks and then sent to be deposited into their IRA account that we hold with them. But it's in their name. They control it. They have the choice of how they want to invest their money and stuff like that. Completely portable, so unlike an employer-sponsored plan that's tied to you as the employer, these accounts are tied to your employee. So, I know we don't like to talk about losing good employees, but if they were to leave you and go to another CalSavers participating employer, that account follows them wherever they go. They can make contributions from their new employer. If they don't go to a CalSavers participating employer, it's still their account. They can keep it, they can continue to make contributions from their bank account, they can ignore it and just let it grow, or they can roll that money over into another qualified retirement plan if they want to do that. Important thing is it's theirs. And then there are no fees for employers. I'm going to remind you all of that part, but that's because the program is self-sustaining based on a small fee that we do charge participants. So they pay a small flat quarterly fee and then a small investment management fee that's based on their average account balance for the year. All right, so I'll look forward to answering any questions that you have. We've got tons of resources available both on our website. I usually have a resources slide available here because that's the most important thing, which is how do you connect with us to learn more about the program. Our website is a wonderful tool, calsavers.com, has information in 10 languages, so that you can learn more about how the program affects you as an employer, but also how it affects your employees, information that you can share with your employees. We have a great call center, multilingual team available on the phone, and we even have an in-state field team, local representatives whose job it is to provide one-on-one support for employers as you register and begin setting up the program. They can even come out to your place of business and do presentations for your employees so that your employees understand what the program's all about. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, just a little taste, but I'll be happy to answer your questions if you have any. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, just clarification.
Mm-hmm.
We are mandated to offer, but if the employee says, I don't want it, don't need it, we're off the hook.
Right, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, so it's mandatory for you as an employer to register and provide your employee information, but your employees, it's completely optional for them, so they can decide if they want to opt out.
Is there something they sign that says we've opted out?
There's three ways.
We're not helping.
Yeah, there's three ways to do it, and actually that's one of the things that we talked about, small business owners with when we were designing the program. Employers didn't want to be the ones that were responsible for holding on to that information, so that's all done directly with the program. They can opt out online, they can opt out over the phone, they can fill out a form and mail it to us, but I always recommend doing the phone or online because that's recorded right away.
And are the fees reasonable enough that we could actually sponsor those fees for our employees?
You should not sponsor those fees for the employees.
Okay, that's
yeah.
all I need to know.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm happy to talk with someone one-on-one in detail on this, but just a quick summary. If I currently have employer-sponsored retirement, CalPERS, but I'm not old enough to withdraw, so my plan is to leave those funds there. Am I still able to apply for and save through CalSavers without there being a conflict of interest or any kind of legal issues for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So for you as an individual, right, not as a business owner, we're talking about, you can sign up for CalSavers on your own. Start saving your own money. You're basically just setting up an IRA for yourself through our program. So the only thing that you'd want to keep in mind is if you have multiple IRAs at different places, the contribution limits that you have for the IRAs are combined for every IRA that you have. Yeah. But we can, go ahead. Follow-up question.
We are the owners of our various businesses. We can still be the employee that signed up for CalSavers.
Yes.
Even if we have CalSTRS or CalPERS.
Yeah, so but the business isn't sponsoring PERS or STRS, right?
No.
Right. So your small business, right? Yeah. Then you could include yourself on that roster. Thank you for clarifying, and you could participate through your small business as well.
And then the second part of that question is: are there any caps to the amount of funds that I can deposit and/or withdraw?
Great question. So the IRS does limit IRA contributions to $6,500 per year, unless the saver is 50 or older. If they're 50 or older, then they can do $7,500 per year, but no, maximum balance limit. So as long as you stick to the $6,500 per year, you can contribute every year as much as you'd like, and then no rules on how much you can withdraw. The default setting for this program is a Roth IRA. So all of the contributions that you make are going after tax, and that also means that you can withdraw your contributions without paying taxes or penalties before you reach retirement age. The only time you would have taxes or penalties is if you withdraw interest from the Roth IRA.
So I have a nonprofit, and I was just curious because I do have 5 staff or whatever, but what's considered part-time? Like the hours, like what's considered, because like I have transitional housing programs, so, and it's state licensed.
Right.
So a lot of the times my staff don't have to work as much because they're adults.
Right.
So, as far as the kids in the house are adults. So what is considered part-time if I have 5 people?
Yeah, there's no minimum number of hours that they need to work. So if you're issuing a W-2 for someone who worked 1 hour for you, that might be an extreme example. Yeah, that would be considered an employee, and they'd be welcome to participate in the program if you keep them on.
Lastly, can we contribute if we wanted to as an employer, even though they contribute to, like, if we want to give a percentage, can we do that?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, employer contributions are not allowed in our program. Yeah, so you might want to look at a private sector plan if you're interested in that, in doing a match. Yes, sir.
What kind of technical integrations are required or available?
So right now we are obviously interested in integrating with as many payroll companies as we can. Right now we have 3 payroll companies that are fully API integrated, so their system talks directly with our system and vice versa. And then there's about 40 plus payroll companies that are partially integrated, so they can automatically transfer, the employee census data and the contribution data. But for even those employers who are working with a payroll company that's not integrated, we've been working with hundreds of payroll companies over the years. We've got some experience. We can help employers set up that payroll piece.
Is there a technical requirement then?
So, as far as
so, like if one of my clients, I work with a lot of businesses. So if one of those clients is handling their own payroll, is there any technical requirement that they have to be able to automatically deposit funds from their account into yours or something along that line? Is there some sort of technical requirement there, or do they just mail you a check?
So we should probably talk with that, with that employer offline. There are several ways that they can transmit that data, from a simple Excel spreadsheet to, different CSV and other file types. And then, the funds transfer is usually either ACH, wire transfer, or check.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Do you know the return percentage on when you generate the contribution?
So it depends on the investment option that folks choose. So we've got a menu of 5 investment options available. They sort of run the spectrum of more conservative to more aggressive, and then each one, would have its own rate of return. You can go to calsavers.com, and there's a section for investments. You can see all the historical rates of return on those investments. Yeah.
2 questions. We are a corporation export, so we are 1099 as well. But we have about 9 to 10 employees. So our payroll company advised us or said they had a program that would refund us at the end of the year if we go through them, and administering costs. I guess that's what we would be funded. Is that something that you guys are aware of, or they just made that up so we can go with it?
So there are actually a lot of tax credits that are available for small businesses that start their own qualified retirement plans that are designed to reimburse employers on the startup costs for a qualified plan. So that's probably what they were talking about. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're aware of, and like I said, we don't see ourselves as intended to compete with employer-sponsored plans. So we sort of say, it's up to the business to sort of look into the different options that are available and decide what works best for you as a business owner and for your employees.
So if we were to, because we wanted to go through CalOSBA at first, but they kind of pressured us to go, we got the same thing. Because we're 1099 ourselves, if we were to eventually promote to CalOSBA, do we qualify under that, or we still on the employer's side?
Right. So are your employees W-2'd, or are all your employees 1099 also?
They're all W-2.
Okay. So you would need to add all of your W-2'd employees to that roster that I talked about earlier to upload into the system. And then you and your business partners who are 1099, you can just sign up for the program on your own. But once you're signed up, you can do payroll contributions through your payroll system.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you would be able to participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, how hard is the transition if you already have a plan in place, right? I
you guys gonna communicate if I decide to go with you? Are you guys gonna communicate with my current company, or I have to be able to do that transition?
So you would be responsible for communicating with your existing plan sponsor to do that. And basically what you would do is once you've ended that relationship with your current plan, you just let us know and we get you signed up. Yeah.
This might be a better question offline, but in general, does the CalSavers program administer the raw IRAs on their phone, or do they work with outside vendors to service administration?
Yeah, so we do have a contracted third-party administrator company called Census. They're the record keeper. They run the call center. They're the ones who manage the website. And then we've got 2 different investment managers that are involved too. So State Street Global Advisors manages 4 of our investment funds, and then the 5th one is managed by a company called Calvert. But none of it's like new products. It was all off-the-shelf institutional investment options that we just sort of picked off of their menus.
2 questions.
Sure.
First, from the time of initiation to the time when you're fully signed up, are you able to estimate approximately how long that takes?
Yeah, so depending on how quickly you go through those steps, you'll register for the program, and then within 30 days of registering, you'll need to upload that roster of employees. You could do that on day 1 if you wanted to. But the key thing there is once you upload that roster, that starts that 30-day employee decision period. So you won't be able to make any of those payroll contributions until that 30-day employee decision period is up, and we let you know which of your employees have decided to participate and not. So minimum 30 days if you upload that roster on the day that you register, but usually somewhere between 30 and 60 days, depending on how quickly the employer goes through those processes.
And then last question.
Sure.
I promise. Do you offer any other financial management services other than the savings and retirement plans?
Currently, we do not. Yeah, we do have a financial education page on our website. Right now, it's just a link to a bunch of different government sources, through California Consumer Protection Bureau. FDIC has a lot of resources available for financial education. So that's what we're relying on right now. But one day, once we get up and running and hopefully the program reaches scale, we'll be able to offer that kind of stuff in the future too. All right.
Good one.
Thank you.
So again, Jonathan will be in the networking room to answer more questions, him and his team. So now I'd like to bring up Traci Hukill. She's from the California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority, Go Green Financing. She is the marketing specialist.
Okay, good morning. Thank you all for showing up and being such an engaged audience. So I know we've probably reached the antsy part of the morning, so I'll try to keep things clipping along as I tell you about Go Green Business Energy Financing and how to save money on financing for equipment and appliances and the sort of things that keep your business up and running. We are administered by the California State Treasurer's Office. We are supported by the investor-owned utilities, so PG&E for those of us here in Northern California, and the 3 other major ones. And I just say my last name is Go Green Financing rather than that California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority business. It's kind of a mouthful. Okay, so what is Go Green Business? We are state-backed energy efficiency financing. Similar to CalCap, our sister agency, we are not the lender ourselves. We work behind the scenes with lenders, making it possible for them to extend very good rates and terms to you for energy efficiency improvements. We do that through, well, we mitigate risk for them. We make it a little bit less risky for them to lend, make it possible for them to lend at lower interest rates with extended terms, which of course means affordable monthly payments. We also encourage them to expand their eligibility so that a lot more different kinds of businesses can qualify. So that includes newer businesses. I believe the newest business is 12 months. Is that right, Jonathan? Yeah, okay. So I think it's more like 3 years you need to have a credit history or something like that to get this type of capital typically, right? So that's an improvement. Also, cannabis operations, houses of worship. It's always funny to put those two in the same in the same sentence. But these are businesses that sometimes have a harder time accessing capital, but they can get capital through our program, again, for energy efficiency improvements. We'll talk about what those might be. Can be combined with rebates and incentives. There are a lot of those knocking around right now. There's a lot of interest at the state level in energy efficiency and helping people decarbonize. That is, move to electric from gas and just manage energy bills in general. And you've probably all noticed that prices have gone up in the last year or two. We finance, or our lenders finance, projects between $5,000 and $5 million. So there's a broad spectrum in there. And Go Green Business also has a network of partners which can help you. So we have enrolled contractors who know our program. They can guide you through the appropriate process. And we have enrolled finance companies that are also here to help. So that is what we are. What kinds of projects are eligible? Well, things that are sort of part of your building, like heating and air conditioning, your roof. We finance cool roofs. Windows, insulation, lighting, the things that are sort of part of the building. Also, some of the things that are inside the building, appliances. If you have a restaurant, your cooler, your commercial ovens, all those types of things. You do not have to own the building. You can lease. Of course, not every upgrade will make sense. You won't necessarily want to be making improvements for your landlord, but the equipment can be an advantageous thing to be able to finance, especially if you're a restaurant and something breaks, some part of your kitchen equipment breaks. You got to fix that quickly. I am personally right in the middle of this right now. My refrigerator just broke, so I am scrambling, and I'm going to use Go Green Financing, to tell you the truth. We do a little bit. Sometimes people say, "Oh, energy efficiencies, that's solar, right?" No, not really. You can do a little bit of solar through our program, but it would have to be limited to 30% of your project for now. That will change in a year or two, but for now, don't really think about this as a solar program. This is more for the things that already use energy, making them use less. Think about it that way. No new construction. This is not for like a brand new building, and we don't do food trucks. These are stationary buildings that we are working with. Emergency replacements, planned upgrades. You can do a whole retrofit if you want to, but I feel like emergency replacements are one of the places where we really come in handy for people. And a really nice feature, I think, is that 30% of the financed amount can be used for non-energy efficiency improvements. So you could do landscaping, you could remodel, you could get play equipment. And I'm going to add that the play equipment is a note to myself. We do many kinds of industries, so food and restaurants, hospitality, retail, office space, warehouses, manufacturing, breweries, all kinds of industries qualify, as does market rate multifamily housing. So I know you don't necessarily think of that as as a business. I suppose you do if you are a property owner, but Anyway, those kinds of apartment complex improvements can be financed through us, and you can do in-unit improvements, which kind of sets us apart. So that means like the refrigerator and stove inside the units. Why energy efficiency when you have so many things to worry about as a new business? Well, I think it's the emergency replacement issue. But when you use less energy, your energy bill goes down. Now, just using our program doesn't mean your energy bill goes down if your air conditioning was broken for 5 years and then you get a new one and you make up for lost time by running it at 68 degrees. Then your bill will go up. But all things being equal, more efficient equipment means a lower energy bill. I'm just going to zip down here. Get ahead of regulations. There's, as I mentioned, there is a lot of interest around the energy landscape right now. California has really ambitious climate goals, and eventually there are rules and so forth that follow. So in Southern California right now, very large bakers, like the people who do Cheetos and stuff like that, they are going to need to phase into electric ovens. Now, currently they use natural gas, and they're going to have to phase into electric over the next couple of years. That's for the big guys, but those are the kinds of things that can come down the pike in some form or another many years hence. Also, sustainability is getting increasingly important to people, I think, and this is one way to set yourself apart. All right, who can use our program? Well, for-profits, nonprofits. I think I heard there's at least one nonprofit in here, and businesses that own or lease the space. Here are some some size guidelines: 100 or fewer employees. Sounds like the majority of y'all are well within that category. And then revenues of 15 million or less, or you meet the SBA small business size requirements. You can finance the entire project, no down payment needed. Also pays for the repairs if you have to make a hole in the wall for something, you can get it fixed. No property liens, pretty quick approvals, day or two, and soon you'll be able to repay on your utility bill. So that is something to discuss with a financial advisor, because that can possibly be advantageous. All right, how can you save? Well, we've got the lower interest rates. I'm going to talk about that. And the extended terms all the way up to 120 months. That's a long time for this type of financing. Our interest rates start out already lower than market rate. But right now we are running this Go Low Rates promotion, and interest rates are even lower. They are as low as 0% depending on the size of the project and lender discretion. They are not bound by law to give you 0% interest, but they want to make this work, and everybody wants to make it work. So I'm gonna give you an illustration of what this could look like. For a project of $40,000 or $50,000, let's say the regular Go Green business interest rate, already reduced, remember, is 7.99%. That is something that that's eligible to get all the way down to 0%. So that obviously makes a big difference in the monthly payment. It's a couple $100 less. That's a lot of interest saved over time, right? So again, if you have something that is on its way out, it's dicey, think about replacing it now, because it's not going to be around forever. It's a set amount of money. We're good for the next few months, but it's a great opportunity. And then, let's see here. And then here's just another example. If you have a larger project, say $150,000, probably not going to get all the way down to 0%, but you will get a few percentage points knocked off, and that doesn't hurt at all. So check out the little Golo badge, the green badge there. Kind of, remember that, because if you go to our website, gogreenfinancing.com, which is where I will direct you to go to get started if you have any interest in this, follow those badges. Those are the lenders who are offering this promotion. All right. And I know you're all so excited to get started. So go to gogreenfinancing.com. That is where you can figure out what kind of projects are eligible. There are like 150 or 200 measures just on our list, and there are other ways to qualify besides. So lots of things can be.
So Traci, you're saying that as business owners, some of the overhead you can't get rid of are payroll, rent, utility bills. So this can help lower that one part of the overhead, the utility bills, and also contribute to making us a more green state.
Yep, that's right. You happen to say it. Our executive director, Claudia Casada, just said it very well. Thank you. Yes, I see another question.
Yes, I have actually two questions. So if you're a restaurant, because I actually have a friend who has a restaurant/lounge, and his biggest expense is the PG&E.
Yeah.
Do you guys, help with that through the financing if, because it's a commercial building, the amount that they have to pay in terms of the rate is like really getting up there, and they're trying to get a handle of it so they can stay in business. Do you guys help with that? And my second part of the question, in terms of the lending, is your business credit a factor in whether or not you guys provide assistance?
Want me to answer that one?
Sure. This is Jonathan Verhoof. He is the program manager for Go Green Business, and he's pretty good. If you want to come up here, Jonathan, you can.
There's a microphone right in front of you, Jonathan.
Testing, does that sound good? Okay, so yeah, part of the advantage of this program is that finance companies are offering financing to customers who otherwise might not qualify. Because we are backstopping these financing agreements, customers who maybe don't have that borrowing history or other kind of wrinkles in their credit are more likely to qualify for credit through this program. And it's not required that the energy bill go grant amount. We don't have rules on that, but a lot of our most successful contractors in this program will sell projects by working with the customer and looking at the terms so that the project pays for itself, and the customer can see this is how much I'm expecting to save on average every month.
Okay.
So that's the goal.
Okay, and there will be literature around this program?
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a table in the lunch room, and we'll be there and can answer.
Yeah, I know someone who needs this like right.
Oh, super. Oh, well, we're here to help. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, two questions, please. First and foremost, did I hear the minimum amount of time in operation is 12 months?
Yes, that's for, I think it's one of our lenders does that. Some of the others have like 18 or 24 months
Yeah, it's reduced
minimum.
to the program. You don't have as much time in business, but there has to be some time in business.
Okay, so not a startup necessarily.
Not a brand new.
Yeah. Okay, and then the second question is, there was no mention of a vehicle necessarily, but I'm interested in adding an electric vehicle to my fleet. Is that something that would qualify for any of this funding? No.
We're just buildings.
The charging station we can do, but the car no.
Yes, ma'am, in the black.
If we are moving from one location to another location and we need improvement of the building, will we qualify for that program?
Yeah. Yes, I would think so. Yes. Sir.
So if you own a property but have a lease and lease it to a business, if there's a lien on the property still, would they qualify for this program?
Yeah, the lien doesn't play into it because we don't allow lien because the property is through this financing. So it's only against the equipment, the security. So property owners, lien or no lien, can also participate as well as the business tenants.
Okay. Yes, sir, in the pink shirt.
It sounds like naturally maybe vendors or contractors are providing
solar, either selling or installing, or other green energy initiatives may work with, or may use the website to show their client the savings and this kind of thing.
Yep, for sure. Yes, all the way in the back.
Do you have any kind of consult service that will help you come in and do an analysis and help you find the right equipment and all that kind of stuff, cost analysis?
100%. Jonathan?
Yeah, you can find a certified energy manager. We have other forms of participants as well as contractors, but that's a service that contractors will provide as well, as helping put together an energy plan.
And energy audits, right? There's some, so you could go on our website and do a search for, on the Find a Contractors page, maybe choose a project developer, and then do a search for energy audit. And those are the folks who can help you go in and go like, oh, you need to change this.
Will they help you do the analysis, the cost analysis and everything too?
There's a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, it's more of a statement. If resources are available for commercial and residential.
Yes.
This would be the same, but I wanted to make sure that was stated for commercial, residential, and
Yeah, absolutely. Since you all live somewhere probably, each of you, and we do have a residential program as well, and that can be something that I believe maybe some of you may be operating out of your homes. Well, you could, if you needed to do something with your home, then you could use the residential program, Go Green Home. But yes, thank you. Excellent point. Yes, ma'am.
That was my question.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
For a business that's run out of your home,
Yeah.
are you able to apply?
Yes.
And you said yes.
For Go Green Home, you would go through our Go Green Home program.
But a home business can also use Go Green Business.
I don't think this will be the case, but can we prepay without penalty?
That depends on the finance company. We have leases, we have other types of financing agreements, but we do have two finance companies that are offering loans, and those do all have options for pay down.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I built a spa, and so I was curious, like, I know with commercial properties, if like, let's say like weather-wise, if it's like, 100 degrees outside, you only can have with commercial, I think less than 20 of those within the property. So if I wanted to like upgrade the commercial air conditioning to make it cooler, do you guys do that too? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's
Because I know with
perfect.
commercial, it only does, I think 20, it only lowers it to 20 or something. So if it's 100 outside, then it only go to 80 within my spa. You get what I mean?
Okay,
So
yeah.
if I wanted to upgrade it and put more air conditioning so it go lower than 20 or higher than 20, get cooler, will you guys pay for that?
There are a whole variety of cooling, heating, and cooling options. So insulation, split systems, there's a whole variety.
And you want something that works better, as long as it's an efficient version of the piece of a piece of equipment, you can get it. It doesn't have. I think I know what you're talking about. Come see me after. Come see me at the table after. I think I understand what you're talking about, and yes, I think yes.
We only have time for one more question. Sorry, okay, we'll move on.
one more statement. For people that are undocumented, they can apply as well. Is that what I understand?
We don't have any restrictions.
Yeah.
It's up to the finance companies, but I don't think they would have any restrictions on that.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to the finance companies.
Okay. All right. All right. Wonderful. Thank you for the engagement and the question. I was going to feel so sad if I didn't get any questions.
Yeah. Good job. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. So we I'm going to bring up Claire Whitmer. She is the Assistant Deputy Regional Economic Engagement and NorCal Regional Advisor for CalOSBA, which again stands for California Office of Small Business Advocate. So I'll bring up Claire. Awesome. You're welcome.
So, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Clair Whitmer, and I'm going to repeat my title because it's super long. I am the Regional Deputy Director of, the Assistant Deputy Director of the Regional Economic Engagement Team for the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Thank you. The office to which you were introduced earlier by our director. And it is my job today to give you a broad overview of the programs and the business support ecosystem that our office supports. But I am very conscious of being in between you and lunch today, so I'm going to quick step through a lot of dense information. You're going to see my name and my title and my email pop up again at the end of the presentation. Please make note of it because it is literally the job of me and my team to help support you. And I want to thank you first for spending the entire morning with us. You are business owners who want to know things and ask questions, and that is our favorite kind. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the time that you spent with us this morning. So first, some context, however. So it is the mission of CalOSBA, as you've already heard from the director, to represent and to elevate the voices of the 4.2 million small businesses in the state of California. Now, the SBA defines a small business as having 500 or fewer employees. But as you've already heard, the vast majority of those are sole props and super small businesses. So when we say that our resources go to small businesses, we really are talking about super small businesses. And we do that through 4 different ways. First of all, we connect small businesses and nonprofits with resources to start, manage, and grow, including other state agencies, all the programs that you have heard from today. We curate, fund, and oversee a statewide business support network to help entrepreneurs access capital and new markets through one-to-one consulting and entrepreneurship training. You've already heard about this part of this network today, and I'm going to tell you some more about it. So we advance resiliency through disaster preparedness and economic recovery. And always, we identify and advocate for policies that support the growth of economic mobility and wealth building through entrepreneurship. So I'm going to give you examples of all 4 of these today. First, another note on our advocacy arm. This is the leadership of our Entrepreneurship and Economic Mobility Task Force. This is a 34-person volunteer board. We meet monthly, and they give us advice on policy recommendations to share with the governor's office. And this 34-person task force includes small business owners, restaurants, small manufacturers. Because it is our job to stand up here and do outreach to you, talk at you as we are doing this morning, but also to listen to you so that the director is in a position to make good advice to the governor. And this is one forum in which we do that. So why do we do all this? You've already heard this number from our director this morning. 46% of 4.2 million, 1.9 million business owners in the state of California are Hispanics or racial minorities. So small businesses, yes, you know, they power our economy, half of the jobs, 2/3 of net new jobs, but they are also truly a reflection of who we are as a state. And this is why our mission is to make sure that all of these services, ours and from other state agencies, are available to entrepreneurs in every zip code and in all of our beautiful languages. To entrepreneurs in low wealth, disaster impacted and rural communities. To entrepreneurs who are Hispanic or racial minorities or women or the undocumented, yes, someone mentioned it earlier. Entrepreneurs with disabilities, LGBTQIA entrepreneurs. All of our entrepreneurs get equitable access to these services. So this is just a wrap-up of the investment that this administration made in that small business economy during the COVID-19 pandemic. So all of these programs are closed, but you can see the size and scale of what it took to save our small business economy. And this is, by the way, the most robust small business direct relief grant program collectively in the country during the COVID-19 pandemic. And it worked. We have recovered most of the jobs that were lost during the shutdowns. And as the director already indicated, California continues to churn out more entrepreneurs now than before the pandemic. So you've already heard this. I heard about this from Scott and from our hosts here today, the Statewide Business Support Network. We administer $23 million in permanent general fund allocations to support a network. This year, we have 102 providers statewide in over 40 languages. That network includes our federally funded partners like the NorCal SBDC network, whom I am personally proud. I'm the NorCal Regional Advisor. These are my partners. I work alongside them in the field every day. Proud to call them my partners. So they include all of those federally funded centers, but it also includes nonprofits that receive corporate and other private funding. This year, we are also putting an additional $8 million in one-time funding to support the network of women's business centers. And you've already heard this part. They all do entrepreneurial education and one-to-one counseling and training. And let me say it again, no cost or low cost. Some of the referrals that we make are to specialized centers, like the Apex Accelerators. Those are federally funded centers. We do referrals to them. They specialize in helping somebody here. It sounded like they were interested in procurement opportunities, contracts with the state and with the federal government, of which there are many now. It really is a new market opportunity thanks to investments from this governor and President Biden. So you've already heard about the SBDC network and this network a couple of times, but I just want to make an additional point. That part of my job is to convince people to invest the time in it. Now, you all spent all morning with us today. Thank you again. But this does take time to go in, make an appointment, and spend time with your business advisor. Now, if you were a Fortune 500 CEO, you would have a board of directors. You would have a C-suite. They don't think they have to know it all and be it all, but small business owners too frequently do think that. So part of our job is just to tell you, you don't have to do it alone. Take advantage of these taxpayer services, please. If you spent all morning listening to us, then I promise you high value for 1 hour with a business advisor in NorCal SBDC. And you find a map. You find a map of all that goodness on our website, CalOSBA.ca.gov. So now the COVID era, all those programs that were closed do not exist anymore, but we are still doing direct relief grant programs. So I will mention a couple today. So on August 31st, this August, we are going to open applications for the Small Agricultural Business Drought and Flood Relief Grant Program, which has such a long name that it doesn't fit on the slide. But that is $70 million to assist small agricultural businesses that were hurt by the drought in 2022, and $20 million to help small agricultural businesses that were hurt by the floods in 2023. So this one program is a representation of the climate whiplash that California is experiencing. Now, I'm in Sacramento. There's probably not a lot of farmers and ranchers in this building, but this program is also designed to help people who participate in the agricultural supply chain, nurseries, grocery stores, other next codes that do participate in that supply chain. So I'll give you again the website address, CalOSBA.ca.gov. Please go to the website, go to the footer, sign up for our newsletter so that you do not miss deadlines on this program or other programs that might be relevant to you. So, State Small Business Credit Initiative Technical Assistance Program. You've also already heard a little bit about this today from my friend Alison at CPCFA. They represent part of this $1.1 billion that the U.S. Treasury has infused into the lending network in California. This week, we are celebrating the brand new announcement of our brand new approval of our application to receive $25.3 million in additional technical assistance dollars. So we're going to put that money back into this network that I've already explained to you and you've heard about a couple of times. And our role is to help entrepreneurs be capital ready. So this program these dollars have been put into the state of California, but as this lady in the front row figured out right away, you still have to stand in front of a lender and tell your story. You have to be capital ready. You have to tell your story with numbers and with words. And our role is to help you be confident that after you've gone to all that trouble, you're going to get some money. So to follow about announcements of these evolving programs, sign up for our newsletter here. Some more programs that we are currently operating. We are accepting applications for the Accelerate California Inclusive Innovation Hubs. Now that's $13 million to expand an existing network from 10 to 13 iHubs. And next year, we're going to add $6.5 million in acceleration grants. That money is going to go directly to small businesses that are incubated in these hubs. Now, what's an inclusive innovation hub? It's a business incubator. But it's a business incubator that has been designed to diversify our innovation economy. Diversify in the sense of the demographics of the founders, yes. Diversify in the sense of what industry sectors are included under the word innovation, and diversify in the sense of geography, so that our high growth economy is not confined to the Bay Area, LA, San Diego, but can be found in Redding, Wairika, Fresno, Bakersfield, all our beautiful inland cities and regions. California Regional Initiative for Social Enterprises, also known as California Rise. This is a brand new program, never been tried before in the state of California, and it is $25 million to help a specific kind of business, a business that is registered with the Secretary of State, that you already heard about, as a social enterprise, also known as a public benefits corporation. Specifically, that money will go to support public benefits and social enterprise companies that are designed to create opportunities, create jobs for people who are experiencing employment barriers. I'll give one example. Our favorite example is a company called Homeboy Industries. You can look it up in the Secretary of State's office and look at their public benefits corporation filing that they have made. And they hire former gang members, and they teach them to do silk screening. And they teach them to work in a bakery. And they teach them to do electronics recycling. That's an example of a social enterprise. And our program will be giving grants to businesses like that from $250,000 to $500,000. So one more, small business and nonprofit COVID-19 supplemental paid sick leave. I can't even do it, and you can read it. But this money, we have already closed one round, but we are likely to open another, so I'm going to mention it, is designed to offset costs that you have already incurred in your payroll to pay out supplemental COVID-19 sick leave. So if you were in business during that period and had such expenses, this can help offset those costs. And again, newsletter, keep track of the deadlines from our website. So you've heard the word resiliency a bunch of times today. This is an example of one program that we run to support resiliency, the Outsmart Disaster Training Program. And I just hired a new team of resiliency training coordinators. Their job is to come to you, come to your business association, maybe your chamber of commerce, maybe the economic development team of your city or county, and help you plan for the inevitable, which is a business interruption. Could be a natural disaster. It could be an economic disaster, like a pandemic. It could be a personal disaster. But the point is to help sit you down and ask yourself hard questions. It's not fear-mongering in the wake of what we saw in Hawaii last week, to ask you, do you have an evacuation plan for your place of work? How long could you last if your cash flow is cut off? And how would you access emergency financing if that were your situation? Do you have all your business data up in the cloud in case the power goes off? And the number one question in California, do you have enough insurance? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is probably not. So my team will come to you. That's the email address. That's the website. And we will help your business create an individualized resiliency plan. So you've heard this morning about all the resources that all the state agencies invest in small businesses. We are not the only ones. So we are not the only stop that you will make on your entrepreneur's journey. We like to think of ourselves as the first stop, because we will give you referrals to all of the above, all of the resources that the state of California provides to help you start, manage, and grow your business. We also have a library, we literally call it the library, of business quick start guides and license guides to summarize a lot of the information that you have already heard today. And we provide referrals and explanations of other Go Biz incentive programs, like for expanding an electric electric vehicle fleet. CalGold for permitting information. The State Trade Expansion Program, California Competes Tax Credit. We don't administer those programs, but we can be your entry point to getting information about them. The obligatory, please follow us. I've said this a couple of times, I really mean it. Please look to our website and our social channels for information, because we also amplify messages from other agencies. And I'll leave you with our tagline. You've already heard it today, but it really does inspire our work. Supporting small strengthens us all. And the truth of that statement is the reason we all went to all this trouble today for you to spend time with us. I want to thank our partners at NorCal SBDC for the work that they do with me every day, and for organizing this event, and for including the director and I this morning. And I promised you my email address. There you go. Please write me. It is my job to help you, and my honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, Q&A.
Yeah, you want to ask?
Any questions? Any questions from me or for our director, who is still with us? Oh, lots of questions. Okay, I'm going to start the first hand that I saw raised.
Great. Thank you. I have a question. So for minority owned certification or women owned certification, because I'm already plugged in with the Department of General Services, but I noticed when I receive requests for proposals to bid on different things, it will ask if I have that designation. Mm-hmm. Do you assist small businesses in getting the minority-owned, women-owned certification?
So we can give you referrals to centers. All the SBDCs will help you with this, but there are also centers like the Apex Accelerators that are specifically specialized in that. Okay. So the DGS has its own certification process, but as I've explained, we provide referrals to all of the above. The certification is like being in love. It's necessary but not sufficient for a good relationship. So you have to have the certification, but then there's the next stage. How do you get the contract? So that's, I would encourage you to come into a center for that entire mentoring. That entire mentoring process. You want to add something?
Yeah, I do. While we really are tracking and understanding what is happening in different socioeconomic groups, I want to underscore that in the state of California, Proposition 209 prohibits any race-based contracting. So while we encourage you to get all of the certifications, we do not at the same time want to set up the expectation that that provides any advantage for contracting with the state of California. Now, having said that, we have two agencies. Our state transportation agency, Caltrans, they are a part of the federal system. 49 CFR Part 26 23? I'm getting a little rusty. But anyways, all transportation, federal transportation dollars that flow down into the state of California come with the opportunity to contract with small businesses that are registered as disadvantaged businesses. So you do, if you are providing services or goods that would be appropriate on any of those transportation related procurements, then that is an advantage to you. Last comment about certification is certification is a business decision. And you have to think about what your strategy is as a small business. Know your customer. Don't just step up to an agency and, hey, I sell everything under the sun and you really want to buy from me because I'm a great human being. That's not how it works. Know your customer, get their forecast, talk to the buyers, and the folks that are here today can teach you how to do that. Get your business card with your NAICS codes, your SIC codes, have all that stuff handy so that you are a walking marketing billboard for your business.
Okay, I think there was some more lady. This lady, yes.
So my question is that, having all these advisors and all that is all good. But I think for me as an entrepreneur and I'm trying to do a lot of things, our heart of is really a specific fund that assigned to us so we can actually hire people to help us. So that's what I feel like where we really need some help is a specific fund to help us hire people into our deficiency so they can help us get into the next step instead. That's what I feel like that where we're really hurting most of the time is on the fund.
Policy question?
I hate to say it, but owning a small business, it really is kind of in some ways survival of the fittest. Can you find the resources? Can you find the help? You have to do it all in the beginning. You are employee number one. And a lot of folks don't really look at their business in that way. Most small business owners are funding the business and not really paying themselves a salary. And so to get that discipline in the beginning, it really is pulling yourself up, I hate to use that cliche, by bootstraps, right? And I know what you're really saying is, give us some laces so that we can help to pull ourselves up. We were fortunate to operate a program last year called the Dream Fund, and our wonderful partner network of the 102 centers ran programs and did exactly that. We provided grants up to $10,000 to help small businesses start up, and even some that had already started but had not matured to grow even further. So we're hoping to be able to bring programs like that back. But until those kinds of programs are made permanent, our small businesses really do have to rely on the free and low-cost consulting services.
But that said, some of these lending programs do cover working capital. So you have to be able to tell a story that will make that lender want to invest in you and your business. So this is what I was talking about, is that the technical advising is on the way being able to tell that story. But some of these lending programs, not all of them, but they will cover working capital expenses, which could include payroll. Yeah. This lady, and then gentlemen.
So I wanted to move back around to the RISE program. I was wondering if you...
I thought you might.
I was wondering if you would clarify what qualifies an applicant going to be able to apply for the RISE?
So those, the whole list of eligibility requirements is on our website, and I will connect with you and help you walk through that. But basically, you have to be registered as a public benefits corporation. So that is like LLC. So that is a business decision that you make in order to pursue this. So it is a specific class of business. And if you are interested in that, and I think one of the questions that this program is intended to confront is maybe there are businesses out there that really are public benefits companies but don't know it yet. So providing education first about what it means to be an employment social enterprise is part of the program, as well as supporting those who have already declared themselves, as it were. So, but I can connect with you to, this program just launched. It is evolving. There are other eligibility requirements that I can help walk you through.
Thank you.
So, and I promise, gentleman with the mustache, and then lady in the back.
So, in addition to her question on the B Corp, that's actually what a big part of my question is going to be about. So, if I'm working with small businesses to try to help them be successful, is that considered a public benefit, or are they looking for more of the social benefits that you hear about on the news and stuff all the time, or is helping small businesses be successful? That's what I do, is management consulting for small businesses, and so I'm curious if that qualifies as a public benefit.
So the B Corp entity, and I've done that application as a business owner myself, so that is a private organization. It is different from this Secretary of State filing that I'm referring to. But if you have done the B Corp filing, then this is a question that you should be asking yourself. Should you go to the next step? Would you qualify? Would it be worth it for you to change your business structure in order to identify yourself for this program, but also other benefits that are associated with that category of business? So, so that's a vague answer, but I think that you're asking the right question, and this program is intended to help you answer it.
We've got time for one more question.
Time for one more question. So, anybody have
asked.
Okay, this lady, go ahead.
Hi. It's kind of piggybacking off the two previous ones. Now, I was the social benefit. I started out as that in 2018. And I lost it during the pandemic because, A, I didn't submit the 940, so they revoked my 501c3 status. So my question for you, does your program help people such as myself get that back?
Good question. So you know the filing fees. I'm going to answer the question in a more broad way. Is that one of our consistent frustrations when we are doing these presentations is to not be able to give people money because they didn't pay the filing fee. So that the Secretary of State said that earlier, is that having your business be normalized so that you can take advantage of this is one of the things that our network helps you do. So now, would our funding help you recover your public benefits filing status?
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, let me clarify the question, because I'm not asking for money. But there were things I didn't know, like how filing certain returns were, how to do that. So that's what I'm saying.
Educational support in this category of business, absolutely, 100%. Although you've asked a question that we don't know the answer to, so that's good. That's good. Well, take that back to our team.
Yeah, and I think the real answer to that is, and this applies to everybody, not just you. Unfortunately, small business owners don't know what they don't know, right? So you get into business, you've got a dream, you're doing something that you love, and there's all of these invisible speed bumps. And you don't know that they're there until you bump up against them and the car goes like that, right? And that's really what you're talking about there. So again, we cannot underscore enough, getting a business counselor as soon as possible. So many nonprofits never file with the Attorney General's office. And they don't know until they've been in business 3 or 4 years, haven't filed, and then some great state program comes up and you don't have a good standing from the Attorney General, but you've been operating, you've been filing your taxes, you've been doing all of those things that you need to do, but you don't know, that's that invisible speed bump, that there's something there that you need to do. So again, we just really want to underscore, take advantage of these free resources. Your taxpayer dollars pay for it. We have $26 million for this program every year. Go get what belongs to you. All
right, thank you very much for spending time with us. You've had time to write down my email address, so let's put yourself in my inbox and we'll talk more about that. So thank you all. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Claire. Thanks. All right, cool. So we've heard from all the presenters and talkers. Another round of applause for everybody that spoke. So hopefully some of you have evaluations in hand. I know you have evaluation in hand. So if you could fill those out and leave them at the table inside the networking, that'd be great. Or Preet and Bree are leaving right now to go to the networking. You can give it to them. Either one of them. This recording is on YouTube, or going to be placed on YouTube, on the Secretary's website, I'm assuming, or State Treasurer's website. This will be, all this recording will be on YouTube. And then the networking is in just past where you signed up through the hallway. And lunch is sponsored by Marble Bridge Financing. So thank you very much for everybody coming. And if you have any questions for me, you can ask them now, or again, we'll also be in the networking as well. So thank you very much.